Assalamu alaikum.
咁但係咧呢啲資源咧，佢總有人咧就係有係得住。咁而家話呢啲咩黃牛啊、質啊、自然嗰個質啊、跟住嗰啲資源啊，係咪？咁但係喺醫生角度嚟講咧，呢所有嘅資源
Wait for 10 more minutes.
所以咧就係人類咧就係有責任咧對呢一個。
So more we come.
好好運用佢，利用佢所以我哋睇嘅層面咧，深層次有啲即係超越咗，即係啲國與國之間嗰個爭拗好啦，所以咧第一個重點咧，我哋講咧就係
You know, I live in one shot. Yeah, so usually I go to Kowloon Masjid.
咁我喺度咧
Office also there.
In one shot is.
因為有好多嗰啲咩上啲
Yes.
咁咧就係見到咧喺一個喺北京人做到咧喺波西嘅時代咧，有一個好出名嘅，即係比較有錢人啊，叫Kowloon喺北京Kowloon。咁呢個Kowloon咧，咁佢咧就係因為得到一樣嘅，即係佢叻啊，咁咧佢就係好多個財富。咁啊財富就好多，即係等於我哋而家嗰啲 super rich 嗰啲咁樣啊。咁但係咧，佢都係認真主嘅，即係佢認為咧，佢嘅財富係因為真主俾佢，佢認為咧佢因為佢聰明，佢叻，識得有多嘢，所以佢有咁多錢咁樣。所以咧就係佢後來咧，佢嘅財富咧係被呢個地啊吞噬咗。佢可能今日財好啦喺嗰度啦，但係喺一個地跌落或者地震咧，將嗰個財富咧吞噬咗佢。咁呢個係好難嘅講。咁所以咧，我哋嘅目前嘅角度咧，我哋上邊咧就跟住嘅話咧，我哋就話我哋嘅將個財富咧轉做呢個真。
Many students.
Today? Alhamdulillah.
See, because of so many events between the things and then it's getting people discouraged. So many Saturdays the program has been changed. So, yeah.
After 2 minutes when we start, because I'm trying to do something, maybe I...
Right, no problem.
But seems that Shari's group more organized, mashallah. How many people registered here?
The Chinese people are almost more than 70 people.
Here.
Here is like
The English group was
20.
20 registered. Comes at the end. What
We
happened?
are having less than 10.
What happened?
I told you there is some speakers, they didn't come up without notice
At all?
before. And then people were here waiting. And also we had other events that came in between. Like the outing organized by the Yusuf schools. So many announced it in the Chinese group, but they didn't let us know in the English group. So people came and that was nothing. So it gets people discouraged, of course, when they come 2-3 times.
So I think we need to sit down and discuss how things should go this time.
Communication is a problem. We are not passing the message.
Yes.
So maybe after the end of this course, we will need to sit down and discuss and just voice out
Improve,
how things will be better, inshallah.
It's not exactly every system. So much problem. It says all everything, the system is but it's not more like that. If you go to Japan, if you start to work, every company is 5 to 3 week in the some meeting.
People, yeah, should know, yeah, should
Because he's following Islam. But I listen nobody and careless. We go to the one every even restaurant in the factory before working 5 to 6 minutes in this talk in the understanding. Why you wearing the tie? Why you so much? Oh my God! Really? Still now one very popular, you know, and yes, first demand is in the Bangladesh ladies some one not he said I agree with Islam something like that. Kidding, something right now. He said he wanted something to support my customers. There's a reading the some Muslim Islamic. He says something wrong. He's not believing on this one. This people is the one.
Bihar is the south part.
Yeah, I know. The UP, Gorakhpur, you know, Gorakhpur is in UP, and the Patna with me. But
Is not the Bihar state?
Patna is in Bihar.
yeah, I know.
Not in UP, not next to UP.
Border,
Not next to
border.
you.
Two big difference.
It's too big different.
Bihar,
And Bihar is the one of the largest population of the Muslim in the world.
Bihar.
Muslim in India. Second most. First is Uttar Pradesh. Second.
Bihar is like near Nepal also.
Yes, there is near, you know, when you come to the Tamil Nadu, right? After that, there is Andhra, and after that, Odisha, Bihar.
I hear the Bengal, West Bengal, and the UP, and the
East
Last.
But brother, it is far different, far
I know
from
the
UP. It's not
capital,
near to UP.
the capital, my city, the capital of Bihar, Patna, you know. Patna capital. I know, Patna is the capital. But my
No,
palace,
the brother is from Pakistan. You know, because of Pakistan is near to the UP.
I know, but I know that because I get one of the largest, last in the border in Nepal. Last, my palace is near border in Nepal. No, I'm not
I'm the Islamic.
you know the just near the
I know about Patna and Bihar.
Patna is main city.
Every student come late.
I just come from office. Not legal fast. Any job I can come in.
My 6 hours and my mom took 12 hours.
No, I did. Just mother.
சரி நான் எடுத்து கொடுக்குறேன் செஞ்சுட்டு வாங்க
Brother, the remote song.
TV remote is there. It's from
Usually inside there. Everyone on film.
Today we inshallah will speak about Islamic politics and economics. We'll try just to have some idea about the political system in Islam and the economic system in Islam. In brief, just to have some idea how is it. We hope inshallah we'll have a clear idea after. When we talk about the Islamic political system, we mean the Islamic political political system deals with the general rules and objectives that decide the type of public authority in a Muslim state. For example, the ruler, his duties, rights of citizens, and rights of minorities, these things related to the political system. Islam handles all these things and have certain rules when it comes to these things. We'll try to see inshallah. First of all, we need to understand that in Islam there is no separation between the religion and the state. So Islam is the main reference for Muslims in their life. As we talked last lecture about the Islamic law, we know that the Islamic law regulates the life of Muslims in different fields. There is no religious class in Islam who can claim that they are the representative of God on earth and deserves to be obeyed and followed at all times. Like other religions, or like Europe, in the Middle Ages, you have the church, they rule even the kings, and they control the kings at that time. In Islam, we do not have this. Yet, there is no separation between religion and the state in Islam. The Islamic State is not a religious state ruled by a group of religious elite. The Islamic State belongs to the Muslim Ummah, the people themselves, who are collectively responsible for organizing themselves in a way that serves their interests in accordance with the Islamic law. Usually nowadays, people, like in many Muslim countries, we have elections now, like in Egypt, in Tunisia, in Libya. So people are speaking about that if you have people who have an Islamic background, they like to have a religious state. So there is a lot of discussions nowadays whether it will be a civil state or a religious state, and we have a long and fierce debate about this thing. That's why I like to emphasize that even in Islam, the religious authority, like for example in Egypt we have Al-Azhar University. It will not be, the Al-Azhar Sheikh will not be the ruler of Egypt if we have an Islamic party. This is not the case. Simply, the Islamic state is a civil state. It's ruled by civilians. It's ruled by, not by the ulama, or the scholars. No, it's ruled by the people themselves.
Not by the military.
Not, yeah, because the people didn't choose the military, right? Yeah. We'll try to see about these things, inshallah. In the Islamic state, in the Islamic political system, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of authority. Is the source of authority. What does it mean? Allah is the source of all authority and power. He is the creator of mankind. And He knows what's the best for them. His orders should be followed and His laws should be applied. In the Quran we have this verse, إِنَ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. Sovereignty belongs to none but Allah. So Allah has the full authority in the Muslim state. Thus the ultimate authority does not belong to people. Belongs to Allah alone. This is the first degree. We should understand this first. That means that both the ruler and the ruled in Islam, in Islamic state should abide by Islamic law in the decision-making process. When I mean here Islamic law, it means the Sharia, the rules mentioned in the Quran and the authentic traditions of the Prophet. I do not mean the opinions of the scholars or the fiqh. I mean the Sharia, things mentioned in the Quran or in the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, the Muslim ruler, for example, the Muslim ruler and the Muslim Ummah as a whole cannot, for example, change any rule mentioned in the Quran. Can, for example, if we have a parliament in a Muslim state, and the parliament will come and have a law to allow drinking wine, will this be allowed? Cannot be allowed. So all the Muslim state, all the Muslim rulers cannot change something which is already said clearly in the Quran. So that's why we say the ultimate authority is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for the Sharia. The rules mentioned in the Quran or the authentic traditions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of the basic characteristics of the Islamic political system is the choice of a ruler. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam refused to appoint a successor after him. They asked him, he didn't say, let Abu Bakr be my successor or Umar or whatever. He didn't do this. This shows that it's up to the Muslim to choose who and how they will be ruled, as long as this will be in the framework of the Islamic law. he laid down a fundamental principle in the Islamic political system. The socio-political authority was therefore given to the Muslim Ummah and not to a single individual or group of people. For example, it's not that the ulama or the scholars in a Muslim state will gather 6, 7 people and say, we choose this as a ruler or this. No, it should be for the whole Ummah. And that's what happened after the death of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Muslims in Medina gathered and they, after discussions, after controversy, they choose Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu to be the ruler of the Muslims after the death of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is a very basic principle in the Islamic political system. The Muslims has the right to choose the ruler. One of the two things also related to the Islamic political system, we have what we call a shura, consultation, which means to take decisions by consultation and participation. Of course, this can be different through referendum, through, if you are in a rural area, you meet together and you choose somebody. If you are in this masjid, you have the shura to choose the chairman of the committee, or so. This can be done in different ways. But the main principle is that the people have a say in running their affairs. It's not by one individual who take all the decisions and that's it. This is not the according to Islam. We have something else called al-bay'ah. So ashura that everybody gather together, everybody has a say, everybody has an opinion. And then, if we choose somebody already, the Muslims give what we call al-bay'ah. Al-bay'ah means allegiance, which means an oath of support and obedience to the Muslim Ummah, to the ruler. These two factors show that the Muslim or the Ummah owns the right of public authority. The Ummah has the right to choose the ruler and has the right to depose him when he does not fulfill his duties and responsibilities. So both ways. The Muslims have the right to choose, and then if this ruler does not work properly, does not perform his duties, so they have the right to say to him, enough. And actually we have Umar bin Khattab, one of the caliphs, either Abu Bakr or Umar, I don't remember exactly, when after he has the bay'ah, they do give him the allegiance and they choose him, he say, أطيعوني ما أطعت الله فيكم. Obey me as long as I obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? فإذا عصيته فلا طاعة لي عليكم. If I disobey Allah, you have no obedience towards me. So one Muslim stand up and say, by Allah, if you didn't, or if you go away from what Allah said, we will correct you by the swords, by our swords. So he's not angry or he is not against that man. He say, Alhamdulillah, that there are people among the Ummah of Muhammad who will correct me when I am wrong. It's basically one of the caliphs. So this shows what? Shows that the people has the right to choose, and even they should follow up what's going on. Whether they like this is fine or this is not fine, they can account the ruler. It doesn't mean that in a Muslim state like what we have these days, what's called Muslim state, the rulers have all authority, nobody can talk to them or can account them. This is, of course, is not according to the Islamic political system. Now coming to Ashura, Islam indicates that running a government and making legislations and decisions should be done through Ashura. There is no room for despotism and dictatorship in Islam. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala named this in the Quran, the translation, who obey their Lord, establish regular prayer, and conduct their affairs by mutual consultation. وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ. Conduct their affairs by mutual consultation. This is the way how Muslims handle and deal with their own affairs. They discuss together, they reach a certain decision together. Ashura, or consultation, is one of the main pillars of the Islamic political system. Muslims did not develop strong traditions of consultation, nor did they develop strong institutions capable of accounting the rulers. The performance and quality of the government was dependent on the integrity and piety of the ruler. We should say, unfortunately, we have this principle of Ashura since these old days, when Islam came, yet the Muslims didn't improve and didn't have a mechanism for this shura. Only later in the European countries they have parliaments but the Muslims had this principle long time ago, but they didn't develop this. And of course, they didn't have institutions capable of accounting the rulers. And until now, we have dictators in many Muslim countries. A large number of Muslim intellectuals declare that democracy is similar to Ashura in Islam in certain ways. Of course, you might have some scholars who say no, democracy is not from Islam, and we have some people. But I say the majority have this kind of similarities between democracy and Ashura in Islam. First, freedom of the Muslim Ummah to choose the rulers. Participation in the decision-making process through Ashura. The dismissal of the ruler who failed in fulfilling their duties. This similarities between what we call democracy and Ashura in Islam. Also in the Islamic state, we have independence of judiciary. In the Islamic political system, judges are independent of the executive authority. This is true through the Islamic history. Although the ruler appointed the judges in the Muslim state, even in the past, they know that they are accountable to Allah. There are many examples where the judges resigned when they felt that the ruler interfered in their decisions. You find the judge during the past, in the Islamic history, that he come to a certain point, he submit his resignation. Even we have Imam Abu Hanifa radiallahu anhu. He refused to be the judge in Baghdad. He refused when the Caliph or the Khalifa asked him to be the judge or the main judge. He said no, because he knows that he might be influenced somehow. So he said, I don't like to have this position. Another aspect of the Islamic political system or the Islamic state, the Islamic political system ensures equality for all citizens before the law. Islam does not recognize any discrimination on the basis of language, color, or descent. That's why we have the saying of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam: all mankind is from Adam and Eve, and Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab. Or a non-Arab has no superiority over an Arab. Also, a white has no superiority over a black, nor a black has any superiority over a white, except by piety and good actions. This is between him and Allah. So in the Muslim state, all people, all citizens are equal before the law. But in a Muslim state, we might have some people who are not Muslims. What's the position in a Muslim state? So in Islam, we have a term in the Islamic jurisprudence or in Islamic fiqh, we call them Ahlul Zimma. Ahlul Zimma means non-Muslims in a Muslim country. Islam has also laid down certain rights for the non-Muslims who live within the boundaries of an Islamic state. According to the Islamic terminology, such non-Muslims are called Ahlul Zimma, the people of the covenant, implying that the Islamic state has entered into a covenant or an agreement with them and guaranteed their protection. They are under the Islamic state. Nobody should do any harm to them as long as they abide by the law. The life and property of a Zimmi are protected exactly like that of a Muslim citizen. There is no difference at all between a Muslim and a Zimmi in respect of the civil or criminal law. The Islamic State shall not interfere with the personal law of the Zimmi. For example, if you have Christian people, they have certain rules when it comes to marriage. So the Islamic State will not interfere when it comes to this. This is their own religious authority. Or maybe to the inheritance. So this is the religious authority. But the public order, the law in the whole state, this is according to the Islamic law. They will have full freedom of conscience and belief. Now, we come to the Islamic state. What are the experience of having an Islamic state? Now many people would like to say we want an Islamic state, we want the Islamic state, we want the Islamic law to be applied. So we like to have certain examples how the Islamic state in Islamic history. The fundamental problem in the experience of the Islamic state during the period of the rightly guided caliphs is that there was no development in the principle of Ashura that can reflect the opinions of the whole Muslim Ummah. So, of Of course, we know who are the rightly guided caliphs. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali. These are 4 rulers after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We call them al-Khulafa ar-Rashidun, or the rightly guided caliphs. So as I say, there was no development in the principle of Ashura that can reflect the opinions of the whole Muslim ummah. The opinions of Muslim provinces outside Mecca and Medina were marginalized, because during the time of the 4 rightly guided caliphs, the main city or the capital of the Islamic State was Medina at that time, right? So usually the consultation was for Ahl al-Medina, for the people in Medina, the Muhajirin and the Ansar. But take for example, during the time of Umar radiallahu anhu or Uthman radiallahu anhu, the Islamic State was so big. You have Egypt, you have Libya, you have Iran, you have Iraq, you have Syria, Jordan, Palestine, other places. So here there should have something should have been done at that time to include other provinces when it comes to Ashura. But this is unfortunately they didn't happen during the time of Uthman or during the time of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. This was the main reason for the troubles during the last years of Uthman's rule radiallahu anhu, and led to the differences among the Muslim ummah. Because at the end of the period of Uthman radiallahu anhu, what happened? There was a certain people, certain revolution, people from Egypt, people from Iraq, people from certain Syria. They came, not Syria, from Iraq, basically Iraq and Egypt, and maybe from Iran. They came to Al-Madinah and they have certain demands and they are against the Khalifa, simply because there are some people who ruled them and they might have done certain things which those people didn't like. Whether this is true in their complaints or not true, but at the end there should be, or there should have been, a certain mechanism to consult these people, to check what are the problems of these people, to ask the opinion of these people when it comes to choosing the ruler or their own ruler. Even their own ruler didn't have the right. Of course, yes, during the time of the Khulafa Rashidun, if the Khalifa has a certain complaint, he will try to see what's this complaint and he will investigate and he can punish the ruler. We have a very famous story that during the time of Umar ibn Khattab, we have Amr ibn al-As who was ruling Egypt at that time. It happened that the son of Amr ibn al-As was in a race, was an Egyptian ordinary man. Alright? And it happened that this Egyptian won the race. So the son of Amr ibn al-As beat the Egyptian guy. Say, how come you win against me and I'm the son of the noble people? So this Egyptian ordinary man take his own things, and I don't know how he think about that, and he go direct to Medina. It's a long way, right, during that time. And he complained to Umar ibn Khattab. It happens that this story. So Umar ibn Khattab didn't take it easy. He sent to Amr ibn al-As, come with your son so and so to Medina. And they came. And when he investigated, yes, he has done this. So he gave him a stick and he told the Egyptian, beat the son of the noble people. So it happened that the Egyptian guy beat the son. He told him, beat his father, because he didn't beat you except by his authority. He feel that he's the son of a ruler. Beat even his father. He said, the Egyptian said, no, I only beat the one who has beaten me. I do not beat his father. So this shows that during the time of Umar ibn Khattab, during the time of Khulafa, they investigated. But during the last period of Uthman ibn Affan, at a certain time, especially the last period, he became an old man. Maybe he didn't follow up what's going on in this Islamic state. And maybe there's certain complaints he didn't investigate. This is a long story, and a lot of arguments has been studied, and even studies has been done when it comes to this thing. But basically what we want to concentrate on is that the Muslims did not make a certain mechanism for including the other major provinces in the consultation or in the shura. After a short period of the assassination of Ali, of course this is the last of the Khulafa al-Rashidin, or his martyrdom, Muawiyah became the ruler of the Muslims. He decided, after some years, he became the ruler, he has done a good job at the time, he decided unilaterally that his successor should be his son. Actually, there was a certain agreement between Al-Hassan ibn Ali, radiallahu anhu, Al-Hassan, the son of Ali, and Muawiyah, that Al-Hassan will leave the rule to Muawiyah, but after the death of Muawiyah, there will be a full consultation among Muslims to choose the next ruler after him. But what happened? For certain reasons, Muawiyah, at the end, or 1 year before his death, think that he chose his own son to be his own successor. And he tried to consult many people, and of course you know people in even our countries, in these Middle Eastern countries, or he's the ruler, how about if I bring my son? Even some people might come to you as a ruler and say, why not your son? You know, he has been brought up in the palace, he understands politics, he is a good man. People try to talk to the ruler like that, even during these days which we live, right? So they tempt the ruler that nobody like you, nobody like your son in all this. So it happened that Muawiyah, for certain reasons, he chose his son Yazid to be the second ruler after him. His own justification, Muawiyah, is that he does not want differences and bloodshed among Muslims after his death. That's what he said, that if I die and we will try to choose, maybe if some will choose one, another will choose another, and there will be fighting. This is his own justification. The Muslim Ummah, unfortunately after this incident, and we have Yazid, the Muslim Ummah rarely, we say rarely, could be happened once or twice somewhere, rarely participated in the choice of the ruler thereafter, since that time. Unfortunately, it could happen at a certain time, but unfortunately, rarely it happens. The Muslims had failed to establish a system that could accomplish their major objectives of uniting the Ummah, and yet rule according to the will of the majority and hold the rulers accountable. During that time, Muslims had to choose between unity under dictator or chaos under freedom. So usually even some ulama at that time, they tried to tell them, well now, if you go against the ruler, what will happen? You will have chaos and problems. So you will have chaos and you have freedom in choice, or better, you have a ruler, even a dictator, and everything will be stable. This is actually still happening even till now in our Muslim country, right? What do you want? Like in the revolution, for example, we have a revolution in Egypt, as you all know.
So ultimately there is a revolution coming.
Yeah, so it happened now.
You can suppress all
it
this?
happened now in Egypt. Even during this revolution, before Mubarak stepped down, we have some ulama, really some scholars, who come out and say, well, don't go against this. This is against Islam. You are going against the ruler. And we have some scholars like that until today. So this is not, of course, this is unfortunately what happened during the Islamic history. Muslims were ruled by dictators who ruled them with force. I'm speaking about the Islamic history. The only way to get rid of those rulers was through the use of force. You have somebody else who has some ambition and use force against evil. This happened throughout the Islamic history during the rule of different dynasties in different parts of the Muslim world. Decision making was decided by the members of the dynasty and the military elite, not by the people, not by the citizens in the Muslim state or the Muslim empire. No, it's only the dynasty and the military who can decide what to do and what not to do. And this is unfortunately So we have another period, which is the colonization period. The absolute majority of Muslim countries were colonized by European powers in 19th and 20th century. This is another period. Muslim people started again to engage into politics through the struggle against these European powers. Muslim intellectuals started to discuss the idea of introducing political reforms in the Muslim world. So as I say, for a long time, we have dictators who rule or sultans or kings or even under the Khalifa, but still the people has no opinion at all. When many Muslim countries came under occupation, the people themselves, the army cannot protect the country. and you have a certain power, an enemy who come and occupy the country. So the people themselves take the lead to make the jihad and stand against those foreigners or foreign enemy, and start to be engaged in politics again. They have an opinion now. It happens, for example, when the French occupied Egypt at a certain time, and then later the English and the British in different Muslim countries. Muslim people, as they say, start to engage into politics through the struggle against these European powers. Now, especially by the end of the 19th century, we have some Muslim scholars who start to think, what happened? What's wrong? How come the Muslims became so weak and nobody? How come European powers now, those people who were nothing at a certain time, they have no power at a certain time, Muslims were powerful, yet now Muslim countries are being occupied. There should be a problem. So they start to think and they try to. We have the famous one, Jamaluddin al-Afghani from Afghanistan. He goes to different Muslim countries in India, to Iran, to Egypt, then to Turkey, and he tried to wake up the Muslims. You have a problem in the political system. You have a problem in the education system. You have many problems. We need to reform. We need to do a lot of reforms. And then you have one of his disciples or followers by the name of Muhammad Abdu. This is from Egypt. He also has a lot of, theses and opinions when it comes to the political reform in the Muslim countries. During the period of colonization, some Muslim students went to Europe to study the modern science. They were attracted by the Western civilization. They called for a complete application of the Western model on all levels in the Muslim countries. Some of them considered Islam to be an obstacle against progress of the Muslim countries. Because what happened? When they go to Europe, they find progress. And when they ask what happened, they say at a certain time we have the church ruling, but now it's for the people to rule. So they try to apply this to the Muslim countries. And as we said at the beginning, this is not applicable. This comparison is not applicable. Christianity as a religion is different from Islam as a religion. Both are different. Because in Christianity, give what's to God and give what's to Caesar to Caesar. So this is different from Islam. Everything in Islam belongs to Allah. Everything belongs to God. When Muslim countries gained independence, the new rulers decided to follow the Western model of separation between the religion and the state. This was against the will of the majority of Muslims in these countries. What Muslims actually want as citizens, they want to abide by Islam and they want to progress at the same time. They don't want any separation between Islam and between the state. But what happens is that the rulers themselves, whom some of them might have studied even in Europe, when they come, they try to apply this separation between the religion and the state. Kemal Atatürk in Turkey was an example to be followed by other Muslim rulers. There was a long struggle between governments and the opposition in majority of Muslim countries. Of course, we know that Kemal Atatürk is the one who abolished the caliphate in Turkey, 1924, and he wants to establish a modern state. No argument with anybody who wants to establish a modern state. But what's the problem? That he changed writing the Turkish language from using the Arabic alphabet into using the Latin way of writing. What's modernity in this? This is the question, right? What's modernity is that the adhan will be in Turkish, not in Arabic. What's modernity in this? All right. So modernity is that you let the people study, make schools, ask people from abroad to come and teach. But what's the relation between the adhan being in